Annalise Vance, will you marry me? Will you let me be the father our children deserve?
She was invited by her millionaire ex-husband to be humiliated at Christmas, but she arrived with the twins he never knew existed. Part 2. The Seattle Science Center's robotics exhibit hummed with the excited chatter of children and parents on a sunny Saturday afternoon. 6-year-old Malik Cole stood transfixed before a robotic arm demonstration, his dark eyes, so much like his father's, tracking every mechanical movement with intense concentration. See how the servo motors coordinate. Henry Cole knelt beside his son, his expensive casual clothes looking slightly out of place among the other parents in their weekend wear. Each joint has to communicate with the others to create smooth motion, like how our muscles work with our brain, Malik observed, his small face serious. It's biomimicry. Henry's chest swelled with pride. His son was only 6 years old and already using terms most adults didn't know. Exactly right. Across the exhibit hall, Serenity Cole had attracted a small crowd of other children with her enthusiastic narration of how robots might help people someday. Her auburn curls bounced as she gestured animatedly, her hazel eyes bright with passion. And they could help old people who can't walk well anymore, she declared to her audience of 3 fascinated kids. Or help doctors do really tiny surgeries. Robots are going to save the world. Annalise Vance stood watching both of her children, a soft smile on her face. 9 months had passed since that terrifying night at the Cole estate when she'd brought the twins to meet their father for the first time. 9 months of careful XEO parenting, tentative dating, and slowly rebuilding something that had been shattered 7 years ago. Henry appeared beside her, his presence still causing her pulse to quicken even after all this time. She's got your heart, he said quietly, watching Serenity inspire the other children. And he's got my brain. Somehow they got the best of both of us. And none of the worst, thank God, Annalise replied. Henry's hand found hers, their fingers intertwining naturally now. I think that's all you. You raised them to be better than I ever was. Before Annalise could respond, Serenity's voice rang out across the exhibit hall, crystal clear and completely innocent. Mama, when are you and Daddy getting married? Every parent in the vicinity turned to look. Annalise felt her face flush hot. Serenity skipped over, oblivious to the attention she'd attracted. Jessie's parents just got married, and she got to be a flower girl and wear a fancy dress and throw petals, and it was so pretty. Can I be a flower girl at your wedding? Why? Serenity's face scrunched in confusion. You love Daddy, right? And Daddy loves you. That's what people do when they love each other. They get married. Malik had joined them now, his analytical mind already processing. Marriage is a legal and social contract that formalizes a romantic partnership, he said matter-of-factly. But Mama and Daddy were married before and it didn't work out. So there are statistical concerns about attempting it again. But they're different now, Serenity protested. Daddy lives here sometimes and we're a family. Henry cleared his throat, clearly as uncomfortable as Annalise with this very public conversation. How about we go see the space exhibit? I heard they have a real meteorite you can touch. Can we talk about the wedding after? Serenity pressed. We'll talk about it, Henry promised, shooting Annalise an apologetic look. Before we continue with this complicated family dynamic, I want to take a moment to thank everyone who followed Annalise and Henry's journey in Part 1. Your support, your comments, your investment in this family's story has been incredible. If you're new here, welcome to Mr. Steele Rich, where we tell stories about love, wealth, power, and the messy reality of second chances. We're just getting started with Part 2, and trust me, this journey is going to test everything Henry and Annalise have built. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because you won't want to miss a single moment. Now, let's get back to this family trying to figure out their future. The space exhibit provided a temporary distraction, but the question hung in the air for the rest of the afternoon. As they drove back to Annalise's apartment, Henry following in his Tesla while she drove the twins in her aging Honda, she couldn't stop thinking about it. When were they getting married? The truth was, she didn't know. Henry had been everything she could have hoped for over the past 9 months. Attentive, present, genuinely involved in the twins' lives. He flew to Seattle 3 times a week, never missing his scheduled time with the kids. He'd been patient with her, walls understanding when she pulled back, consistent in his affection even when she was distant. But marriage? That felt like stepping off a cliff. At her apartment, Henry helped get the twins settled with the snack, while Annalise checked her work emails. Second Chances Learning Center was thriving. 12 employees now, over 100 students across 2 locations. She'd built it all herself, and she was proud of that independence. Annalise. Henry's voice pulled her from her phone. "Can we talk for a minute?" Her stomach clenched. Those words never led anywhere good. They stepped into her small bedroom, the only private space in the apartment, and Henry closed the door softly behind them. "About what Serenity said today," he began. "Henry, she's 6. She doesn't understand. I know, but she's not wrong to ask." He ran a hand through his hair. A gesture she'd learned meant he was nervous. "We've been doing this dance for 9 months now. Dating, but not really dating. Living separately, but trying to co-parent. I'm in Seattle 3 times a week, but I still have to sleep in a hotel because we're not there yet. We agreed to take it slow," Annalise reminded him, her defenses rising. "I know, and I've been patient because I understand why you need to be slow. But Annalise, the twins are asking questions. They see us together. They see me here all the time, but they also see me leave. They see the confusion." He paused. "What if we all lived in the same city, really committed to being a family?" "You mean I should move to San Francisco?" Her voice came out flat. "No, actually I was thinking I could move here." "To Seattle?" Annalise stared at him. "You're the CEO of Cole Technologies. Your entire company is in San Francisco. We have video conferencing. I can open a Seattle office. Hell, I can work remotely most of the time." He stepped closer. "The point is, I'm tired of living in 2 cities. I want to be here. With you. With them. All the time, not just scheduled visits." "That's a huge change," Annalise whispered. "I know, but I'm ready for it. The question is, are you?" Before she could answer, her phone buzzed. She glanced at it reflexively, an email notification. The sender name made her blood run cold, Victoria Laurent. Henry noticed her expression change. "What's wrong?" Annalise opened the email with trembling fingers. "Dear Annalise, I hope this message finds you well. I'm reaching out as a professional courtesy to inform you that I'm launching Laurent Education Group, a premium learning center for gifted students. Our flagship location will be opening in Seattle next month. I'd love to discuss the education landscape in the city with a fellow entrepreneur. Perhaps we could meet for coffee? Best regards, Victoria Laurent." "It's Victoria," Annalise said quietly, showing him the phone. "She's opening a learning center in Seattle." Henry's jaw tightened as he read. "That's not a coincidence." "No," Annalise agreed, her mind racing. "It's not." They stood in silence for a moment, the weight of Victoria's re-emergence settling over them like a storm cloud. "I should respond to her," Annalise said finally. "Be professional. Find out what she's really planning." "Or I could respond," Henry offered. "Tell her to stay away from you, from your business, from our family." "No," Annalise straightened her spine. "I'm not going to hide from her or let you fight my battles. If she wants to compete with Second Chances, fine. I built my business once. I can protect it now. Annalise, I need you to trust that I can handle this." Henry studied her face, then nodded slowly. "Okay, but I'm here if you need me." "I know." She softened slightly. "And Henry?" About what you said before, about moving to Seattle. Can I think about it? Take all the time you need. Later that evening, after Henry had left and the twins were in bed, Annalise sat at her kitchen table staring at Victoria's email. 9 months of rebuilding, of carefully constructing a life that felt stable and safe. And now this. Victoria Laurent, the woman who'd helped destroy her first marriage. The woman who'd been in Henry's study that terrible day 7 years ago. And now she is coming to Seattle. Annalise's phone buzzed again. Another email, this time from an unknown sender. She opened it cautiously. Thought you should see this before it goes public tomorrow. Attached was a press release. Laurent Education Group announces Seattle expansion. Backed by $10 million in venture capital funding. Premium Learning Center targeting advanced students ages 5 to 18. Location, 3 blocks from Second Chances Learning Center's main location. Annalise's hands clenched into fists. This wasn't just business competition. This was deliberate. Victoria had researched her, found her business, and was setting up shop specifically to compete with her. But why? Her phone rang, shattering the quiet. Henry's name lit up the screen. I just got a call from Victoria, he said without preamble. She wants to meet with me. Says she has a business proposal that could benefit Cold Technologies. When? Tomorrow night. She's in San Francisco this week, heading to Seattle next week. He paused. I told her I needed to think about it. You should go, Annalise heard herself say. What? You should meet with her. Find out what she's really planning. If this is just business or if it's... She trailed off, unable to voice her fear. If it's personal, Henry finished. If it's about us. Yeah, Annalise, I don't want you to think... I trust you, she interrupted, and was surprised to find she mostly meant it. I'm not saying I'm not scared. But I trust you. Go to the meeting. Be professional. Find out what she wants. I'll tell you everything that happens. I know you will. After they hung up, Annalise walked to the twins' bedroom and stood in the doorway, watching them sleep. Serenity sprawled across her bed, covers kicked off, stuffed rabbit clutched in one hand. Malik curled into a tight ball, his expression serious even in sleep. She'd built a life for them, a good life, safe, stable, full of love. And now Victoria Laurent was threatening that stability. But Annalise Vance had survived worse than a business competitor. She'd survived heartbreak, single motherhood, poverty and loneliness. She'd built an empire from nothing while raising twins alone. Whatever Victoria was planning, Annalise would be ready. Her phone buzzed one more time, a text from Henry. I love you. Whatever happens with Victoria, with the business, with any of it, that doesn't change. You and the twins are everything to me. Sleep well. Annalise stared at the message for a long moment, then typed back, I love you too. And Henry? Be careful tomorrow. His response was immediate. Always. But as Annalise finally climbed into bed, she couldn't shake the feeling that everything they'd carefully built over the past 9 months was about to be tested in ways neither of them had anticipated. Victoria Laurent wasn't just opening a competing business, she was declaring war. And this time, Annalise wasn't running. The nausea hit Annalise the moment she opened her eyes. She barely made it to the bathroom before her stomach rebelled, leaving her kneeling on the cold tile floor, sweating and miserable. This was the 3rd morning in a row. Mama? Malik's concerned voice came from the doorway. Are you sick? Annalise quickly flushed and stood, rinsing her mouth. I'm fine, baby. Just something I ate. But Malik's analytical eyes studied her with uncomfortable perception. You've been sick 3 mornings in a row. That suggests a pattern rather than isolated food poisoning. It's nothing, sweetheart. Go get dressed for school. After she'd gotten the twins fed and off to school, Annalise sat in her car in the parking lot, staring at the drugstore across the street. She was 10 days late. The nausea, the exhaustion, the emotional swings that had her crying at television commercials. She knew what this meant. 20 minutes later, she stood in her bathroom staring at 2 pink lines on a pregnancy test, her whole world tilting sideways. Pregnant. She was pregnant with Henry's child. They weren't even living in the same city. She hadn't accepted his proposal to move in together. She still had moments where old fears crept in, and she wondered if he'd revert to the man he'd been 7 years ago, and now she was carrying his baby. Annalise sank onto the closed toilet seat, one hand pressed to her still flat stomach. Part of her wanted to call Henry immediately, share this news, and process it together. But another part, the part that had been burned before, held back. What if this changed things? What if the pressure of another child, the reality of a baby, brought back old patterns? What if he wasn't ready? What if she wasn't ready? Her phone buzzed. A text from Henry, meeting with Victoria tonight at 7, her hotel lobby, public place. I'll call you after. Love you. Annalise stared at the message. While she was sitting here pregnant with his child, he was about to meet with a woman who'd helped destroy their first marriage. The irony was almost too much. She typed back, "Okay, be safe." Then she wrapped the pregnancy test in tissue, hid it at the bottom of her bathroom trash can, and went to work. That evening, Henry sat in the lobby bar of the Fairmont Hotel in San Francisco, watching Victoria Laurent approach. She looked exactly as he remembered, polished, beautiful, perfectly styled in a way that screamed money and sophistication. "Henry." She smiled, leaning in for an air kiss he barely reciprocated. "Thank you for meeting me. You said you had a business proposal. Always so direct." She settled into the chair across from him, ordering a martini when the waiter appeared. "I've missed that about you. Victoria, I'm here professionally. Let's keep it that way." "Of course." She pulled out a tablet. "All business now. Laurent Education Group. I'm sure you've heard about it. I've seen the press release." "Seattle expansion." "Exactly. I'm targeting the premium education market. Gifted students, advanced curriculum, the kind of parents who want the absolute best for their children." She swiped through images on her tablet. "We're opening our flagship location next month. 3 blocks from Second Chance's Learning Center." Henry's jaw tightened. "That's Annalise's business." "Is it?" Victoria's smile was perfectly innocent. "I had no idea." "What a coincidence. Cut the games, Victoria. What do you really want?" She leaned back, studying him. "I want Cole Technologies to invest. $5 million for a 30% stake. We expand nationally, creating a chain of premium learning centers. You get an excellent return on investment. I get the capital to grow. It's good business, Henry. And the fact that you're competing directly with Annalise's business, that's just market dynamics. There's room for multiple players in the education space." She paused. "Unless you're letting personal feelings cloud your business judgment, I'm not investing in anything that directly competes with Annalise." Victoria's expression hardened slightly. "She really has you wrapped around her finger, doesn't she? The great Henry Cole making business decisions based on his girlfriend's feelings." "Fiancé," Henry corrected, then immediately regretted it as Victoria's eyes flashed. "Fiancé? How lovely. When's the wedding?" "We haven't set a date." "Ah." Victoria's smile returned, sharp now. "So not quite fiancé then. More like complicated girlfriend you have children with." Henry stood. "This meeting is over. Wait." Victoria caught his arm. "I'm sorry. That was unprofessional. Please, sit. I promise to keep this strictly business." Against his better judgment, Henry sat back down. "Look," Victoria said, her tone shifting to something almost vulnerable. "I know we have history. I know I made mistakes 7 years ago. But I'm trying to build something real here, Henry. A legitimate business. And yes, Maybe I chose Seattle partially because I heard you were spending time there. But that doesn't make my business proposal any less sound. Why now, Victoria? Why come back after all this time? She was quiet for a moment, staring into her martini. Because I've spent 7 years watching you build an empire while I jumped from job to job, never quite finding my place. I want what you have. Success, stability, something that's mine. She looked up. And maybe, if I'm honest, I wanted to see if there was still... There isn't, Henry said firmly. Whatever we had was never real, Victoria. We used each other. I've spent 3 years in therapy understanding that. What I have with Annalise is real. What I have with my children is real. I'm not interested in anything else. Victoria's face hardened. Then I guess there's nothing more to discuss. Professionally or personally, I guess not. You should know, she said as he stood to leave. Laurent Education Group is moving forward with or without coal technologies, and we will be successful. Even if that means Second Chances Learning Center suffers. That sounds like a threat. That sounds like capitalism, Henry. May the best business win. Henry left without another word, but as he walked out of the hotel, his phone already in his hand to call Annalise, he had the distinct feeling this was just the beginning of Victoria's plans. Meanwhile, Annalise was having dinner with her brother Daniel, who'd flown in from Portland for a surprise visit. "You look terrible," Daniel said bluntly, studying her across the table at their favorite Chinese restaurant. "Thanks. You always know just what to say." "I'm serious, Annie. You're pale, you've got dark circles under your eyes, and you just ordered fried rice when you normally get the spicy noodles." He narrowed his eyes. "What's going on?" Annalise pushed food around her plate. "Victoria Laurent is back, the mistress. She prefers head of marketing, but yes, she's opening a competing learning center 3 blocks from my main location." Daniel whistled low. "That's aggressive. And she's meeting with Henry tonight. Business proposal, apparently. And you're okay with that? I have to be, don't I? I can't control who he meets with for business." "That's very mature of you. Also completely unlike you. The Annie I know would be spiraling right now." He leaned forward. "What aren't you telling me?" Annalise felt emotion well up, the hormones making it impossible to maintain her composure. "I'm pregnant." Daniel's mouth fell open. "You're what?" "Pregnant. 10 weeks, I think. I took a test this morning. Does Henry know?" "No. I just found out today, and then he texted about meeting Victoria, and I can't process all of this at once." "Annie." Daniel reached across the table to take her hand. "You have to tell him." "I will. Just not yet. Not while Victoria's circling. I need to see how he handles this first." "Handles what?" "A business meeting. Handles her. Handle the temptation. Handles being in the same room with the woman he had an affair with while I'm pregnant with his child, and he doesn't even know it." Her voice broke. What if he fails? What if she reminds him of who he used to be and he likes that version better? Then he was never worth it in the first place, Daniel said firmly. "But Annie, you can't test him without telling him what's at stake." "I know. I just need a little more time." Her phone rang. Henry's name lit up the screen. "That's him," she said. "Answer it." "And Annie?" "He deserves to know about the baby." Soon, Annalise stepped outside to take the call. "Hey, how did it go?" "Exactly as I expected. She wants $5 million to invest in Laurent Education, claimed she didn't know it competed with your business, then basically threatened that she'd succeed with or without my help." "She threatened you?" "She threatened Second Chances, said may the best business win." Henry paused. "I turned her down flat, Annalise. I won't invest in anything that competes with you." Relief flooded through her. "Thank you. You don't have to thank me for choosing you. That's just what I do now, every time." His voice softened. "Are you okay? You sound off." "I'm fine. Just tired. It's been a long day. Get some rest. I'll call you tomorrow. I love you. I love you too. After they hung up, Annalise stood in the cool evening air, one hand on her stomach. Henry had chosen her over a lucrative business deal. He'd refused Victoria without hesitation. Maybe Daniel was right. Maybe Henry deserved to know. But first, she needed to know she could trust him completely. And with Victoria Laurent declaring war on her business while making moves on her man, that trust was about to be tested in ways Annalise wasn't sure she was ready for. The next morning, Annalise woke to find her phone flooded with notifications. She grabbed it, still groggy, and her blood ran cold. Social media was exploding with news. Laurent Education Group names Cole Technologies board member as chief investor. She clicked through to the article. Victoria had found another investor within Cole Technologies. One of Henry's own board members had gone behind his back to fund her company. But that wasn't the worst part. There was a photo accompanying the article. Victoria and Henry at the hotel bar, mid-conversation, looking intimate in the dim lighting. The caption read, "Laurent and Cole discuss potential partnership." Annalise's phone rang. "Henry, I know you've seen it," he said immediately. "It's not what it looks like. It looks like you lied to me about turning her down." "I did turn her down. One of my board members went rogue and invested personally. I found out this morning. And that photo is from last night, but completely out of context. Henry, I can't do this right now. Annalise, please." I said not now. She hung up, hands shaking. For the rest of the day she ignored his calls and texts, focusing instead on damage control for second chances. Several clients had already called, asking about the new premium option that was opening nearby. By evening she'd made a decision. She called Henry back. "Thank you for calling," he said, relief evident in his voice. "I need you to come to Seattle. Tomorrow. We need to talk. In person, of course. What time?" 7 p.m. My apartment, Annalise, whatever you're thinking. "Tomorrow, Henry. We'll talk tomorrow." After hanging up, Annalise pulled out the pregnancy test she'd hidden and stared at it. Tomorrow she'd tell him everything. About the baby, about her fears, about what she needed from him to move forward. But tonight, she'd allow herself one more night of uncertainty before everything changed. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Enjoyed seeing Henry last night. He hasn't changed as much as you think." Annalise stared at the message, nausea rising again, though this time it had nothing to do with pregnancy. And could Annalise trust him not to, even with a baby on the way? Tomorrow would bring answers. Tonight brought only questions, fears, and the two pink lines that changed everything. Henry's phone rang at 9:47 p.m., just as he was reviewing quarterly reports in his San Francisco penthouse. Victoria Laurent. He should let it go to voicemail. Every instinct told him this was a bad idea, but something, maybe curiosity, maybe the need to understand what game she was playing, made him answer. "Victoria. Henry, thank God. I need your help." Her voice was breathless, panicked. "There's been an emergency with the business proposal documents. The investors need clarification tonight or they're pulling out. I have the paperwork here, but I can't make sense of the legal language without—" "Call your lawyer." I did. He's not answering. "Henry, please. I know you turned down the investment, but this is my entire future. Just 20 minutes to look over the contract language. That's all I'm asking." Henry pinched the bridge of his nose. He should say no. He should hang up. But old habits, the need to solve problems, to be the smartest person in the room, pulled at him. "Where are you?" "The Fairmont, Suite 2847. I know it's an imposition, but I wouldn't ask if it wasn't urgent." Every alarm bell in Henry's head was ringing. "Send me the documents. I'll review them remotely. The investors need a video call in 30 minutes. I need you here to help me understand what I'm signing before I get on that call. Please, Henry. I'm desperate." He should call Annalise. tell her about this. But she'd already hung up on him once today, was barely speaking to him, and asking permission to go to Victoria's hotel room would only make things worse. Better to go, help quickly, and leave. Purely professional, 20 minutes tops, I'll be there in 15 minutes. But Victoria, this is the last time. After tonight, don't call me again. Thank you. Thank you so much. Henry grabbed his keys, already regretting this decision. Suite 2847 was on the penthouse level, naturally. Victoria answered the door in business attire, a silk blouse and tailored pants, but something about the lighting, the atmosphere, felt calculated. The suite was dimmed, romantic music playing softly from hidden speakers. A bottle of wine sat open on the coffee table, 2 glasses beside it. "This is a business meeting," Henry said immediately, not moving from the doorway. "Of course." Victoria gestured to the dining table, where papers were spread out. "The documents are here. I've been going through them, but the liability clauses don't make sense." Henry moved to the table, keeping maximum distance between them. He scanned the first page and immediately saw the problem. This isn't a standard investment agreement. This gives the investors controlling interest. If you miss any quarterly targets, you'd be signing away your company. What? Victoria leaned over his shoulder, close enough that he could smell her perfume, the same one she'd worn 7 years ago. "Where does it say that?" He pointed to the clause, acutely aware of her proximity. "Here, and here. Victoria, you can't sign this. You need a lawyer to renegotiate these terms." "I can't believe they tried to screw me over." She moved closer, her hand resting on his arm. "Thank you for catching that. You always were the smartest person in any room." Henry stepped back, putting space between them. "You have your answer. I should go have a drink first. Please, you came all the way here, saved my business. The least I can do is offer you a glass of wine." "I don't think that's a good idea. One drink, Henry, for old time's sake." She everything about waiting for his answer, holding out a glass. Refusing felt awkward to old friends helping he'd already come this far. "One drink," he said, accepting the glass but not sitting down. Victoria settled onto the sofa, patting the cushion beside her. "Sit. You look exhausted. When's the last time you actually relaxed?" "I'm fine standing, still so rigid." She smiled, taking a sip of wine. "Some things never change, some things do. I should go, Victoria." "Why?" "Because Annalise has you on such a short leash. Because I want to go. Because this," he gestured around the suite, "isn't appropriate." Victoria stood, moving closer. "What's inappropriate? 2 old colleagues having a drink? 2 people who used to mean something to each other while having a conversation? Is that what you tell yourself?" She was close now, too close. "Or is that what you tell her to make her feel special?" "Victoria, stop. I've missed you, Henry. Missed working with you. Missed us. There was never an us, wasn't there?" Her hand touched his chest, fingers splaying across his shirt. "I remember differently. I remember late nights at the office. I remember how well we worked together. How good we were together." Henry grabbed her wrist, removing her hand. "That was 7 years ago. I was a different person, a worse person, or maybe you were more yourself then. Maybe this version, the domesticated family man, isn't really you." She moved closer, her voice dropping. "You're a king, Henry. Kings don't belong in small apartments in Seattle, playing house with someone who'll never really understand you. You're wrong." "Am I?" Her other hand slid up his arm. "When's the last time Annalise challenged you intellectually? When's the last time you had a real conversation about business, about strategy, about the things that actually matter to you?" "My children matter to me. Annalise matters to me, but does it matter to you?" She was so close now he could feel her breath. "Don't you miss being with someone who's your equal? Someone who understands ambition, power, success?" Annalise built a business from nothing while raising twins alone. She understands success better than you ever will. Then why isn't she here? Victoria's hand cupped his face. Why am I the one you came to tonight? Because you manipulated me into coming, did I? Or did part of you want to come? Want to remember what it felt like when life was simpler, when you didn't have to worry about co-parenting schedules and disappointing your children and whether your girlfriend truly trusts you? Stop. I've always understood you, Henry, the real you, not the version you're trying to be for her. Her lips moved closer to his. Don't you miss this? Miss us? There was never an us, Henry repeated, but his voice was quieter now, his resolve wavering for just a moment. And at that moment, Victoria closed the distance and kissed him. For exactly 2 seconds, Henry froze. Shock, old muscle memory, the ghost of who he used to be. Then reality crashed back in. He pushed her away, stumbling backward. No, absolutely not. Henry, I'm in love with Annalise. I have a family with her. Whatever we were 7 years ago is dead. It never should have existed in the first place. Victoria's expression hardened. You're making a mistake. The only mistake was coming here. Henry moved toward the door. Don't contact me again. Don't come near my family. And if you do anything to hurt Annalise's business, I'll make sure every investor in San Francisco knows exactly what kind of person you are. She'll never fully trust you, Victoria called after him. You know that, right? No matter what you do, there will always be doubt, always be afraid, because you broke her once, and broken things never heal completely. Henry paused at the door, his hand on the handle. You're wrong, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving it. He left without looking back, his heart pounding, adrenaline surging. In the elevator, he pulled out his phone to call Annalise. His finger hovered over her name. Should he tell her? Should he admit he'd gone to Victoria's hotel suite, that she'd kissed him, that for 2 seconds he'd been too shocked to pull away? Or would telling her only confirm her worst fears? Would she see his honesty as proof that he couldn't be trusted rather than evidence that he was trying to be different? Before he could decide, his phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. A photo attached. Henry opened it and his stomach dropped. It was him and Victoria in her suite. The photo was timed perfectly, right at the moment she'd kissed him, before he'd pushed her away. The angle made it look mutual, intimate, willing. The caption, thought Annalise should see what really happened tonight. Henry's hands were shaking as he immediately dialed Annalise. No answer. He tried again, voicemail, and again. Nothing. She'd already received the photo, she'd already seen it, and she wasn't answering. Henry burst out of the elevator into the lobby, already heading for his car. He had to get to Seattle. I had to explain. Had to tell her the truth before Victoria's lies destroyed everything. But even as he drove toward the airport, calling Annalise's phone every few minutes with no response, he knew the damage was done. Victoria had won, or had she, because Henry wasn't giving up. Not this time, not when he finally had something worth fighting for. He'd drive to Seattle. He'd camp outside Annalise's door. He'd tell her the truth, all of it, and pray that 9 months of proving himself had earned him enough trust for her to believe him. His phone buzzed. Finally, a response from Annalise. But it wasn't a call. It was a text. 2 words that stopped his heart. Don't come. Henry stared at the message, his world crumbling. But he kept driving anyway, because some things were worth fighting for, even when you'd already lost. Annalise stared at the photo on her phone, her vision blurring with emotions she refused to let overwhelm her. Henry and Victoria, kissing in what was clearly a hotel suite. The image was burned into her mind, confirming every fear she'd harbored for 9 months. History was repeating itself. "Mama?" Malik's voice came from behind her. She quickly locked her phone, composing herself. "I'm okay, baby." But she wasn't okay. She was pregnant, terrified, and looking at photographic evidence that the man she'd been foolish enough to trust again had betrayed her. Her phone buzzed. Henry called for the 4th time. She let it go to voicemail. It buzzed again immediately. A text. "Annalise, please answer. It's not what it looks like." "Victoria set me up. I can explain everything." She'd heard those words before. 7 years ago, when she'd confronted him about Victoria the first time, he'd said something similar. "It's not what you think. You're overreacting." It didn't mean anything. Well, this photo meant something. Another text from Henry. "I'm driving to Seattle right now. I'll be there in 2 hours. Please don't shut me out." Annalise's hands shook as she typed back, "Don't come." Then she turned off her phone and walked to her brother's hotel room down the hall. Daniel took one look at her face and pulled her into a hug. "What happened?" She showed him the photo. "Son of a—" Daniel's jaw clenched. "I'm going to kill him. Get in line. Annie, you need to let him explain." "Explain what?" "The photo is pretty clear." "Is it?" Daniel zoomed in on the image. "Look at his body language. His hands are at his sides, not touching her. His body is angled away. This looks like she kissed him, not that he was participating." "You're defending him?" "I'm telling you to look at the actual evidence before you make decisions based on fear." Daniel sat her down. "I know he hurt you before. I know trusting him again is terrifying. But Annie, I've watched him with you these past 9 months. That man is completely different from the one you married 7 years ago. Or he's just better at hiding who he really is. Then let him prove it. Let him explain. You owe him that much." "I don't owe him anything," Annalise said, but her voice lacked conviction. Daniel knelt in front of her, taking her hands. "You're pregnant with his child. You're building a life with him. You can't just shut down every time you get scared. That's not fair to him, and it's not fair to you or those kids." "I can't do this again, Danny. I can't be that broken again." "Then don't be. Be strong. Be the woman who survived single motherhood and built a business from nothing. Be brave enough to hear him out before you condemn him." He paused. "And Annie, you need to tell him about the baby. Tonight. Whether you stay together or not, he deserves to know." Annalise pressed her hands to her face, overwhelmed. "I don't know if I can do this." "Yes, you can. You're the strongest person I know." Meanwhile, Henry was breaking every speed limit between San Francisco and Seattle. His phone kept buzzing with calls from his mother, texts from business associates, but he ignored them all. Only one person mattered right now, and she'd told him not to come. But Henry had learned something in 3 years of therapy. Sometimes love meant showing up even when you weren't wanted. Sometimes it meant fighting for something even when it seemed lost. He pulled over at a rest stop, his hands shaking too badly to drive safely. He needed to think, to plan, to figure out how to prove what had really happened. His phone rang. His mother. "Henry James Cole, where are you?" Eleanor's voice was sharp. "I've been calling for an hour. I'm on my way to Seattle. Victoria Laurent just left my house." Henry's stomach dropped. "What?" "She came to me with some story about you and her rekindling your relationship, about Annalise being unstable and keeping your children from you. She showed me a photo." "Mother, it's a lie. All of it. Victoria kissed me without my consent and took a photo to make it look mutual." "I know, darling. I could tell she was lying the moment she opened her mouth." Eleanor's voice softened. "I've spent 3 years watching you transform yourself for Annalise and those children. I know the difference between performance and genuine change." Victoria was performing. Henry felt emotion well up. His mother, who had sabotaged his first marriage to Annalise, was now defending it. "Thank you. Don't thank me. Just get to Seattle and fix this. That woman loves you, but she's terrified. And she has every right to be, given how you treated her before. You need to prove to her that this time is different. I don't know how. Yes, you do. You tell her the truth. All of it. And you let her decide whether to believe you. That's all you can do, Henry. The rest is up to her. After hanging up with his mother, Henry sat in his car staring at his phone. Then he did something he'd never done before. He called a meeting for tomorrow morning with his entire board and told his assistant to invite the press. If Victoria wanted war, he'd give her war. But first, he had to face Annalise. Annalise had turned her phone back on, and the messages were flooding in. 15 missed calls from Henry, 20 texts, 3 voicemails. Against her better judgment, she listened to the first voicemail. "Annalise, please. I know what the photo looks like, but I swear to God, I didn't kiss her. She kissed me and I pushed her away immediately. I went to her hotel room because she said there was an emergency with business documents. I know I should have told you, but I thought I could help quickly and leave. It was stupid and I should have known better, but I promise you, nothing happened. I love you. Only you. Please let me explain in person." The second voicemail: "I'm hiring a private investigator to get the hotel security footage. It will show me arriving, staying for less than 10 minutes, and leaving immediately after she kissed me. I can prove this, Annalise. I can prove I'm telling the truth. Just please, please don't give up on us." The third voicemail was just Henry's voice, broken and raw. "I'm parked outside your building. I know you said not to come, but I can't just sit in San Francisco while you think I betrayed you again. I'll wait here all night if I have to. I'll wait as long as it takes. I love you. I choose you. Every single time." Annalise walked to her window and looked down. Sure enough, Henry's Tesla was parked across the street. She could see him sitting in the driver's seat, his head in his hands. "He's here," she whispered. Daniel appeared beside her. "Are you going to talk to him?" "I don't know. Annie, you have to. You can't leave him sitting there all night. And you definitely can't make any decisions about your future without hearing his side." Annalise's hand moved to her stomach. Their baby, growing inside her while everything fell apart around them. She made a decision. "Watch the twins. I'm going down." The knock on Henry's car window made him jump. Annalise stood there, arms crossed, face unreadable. He scrambled out of the car. "Annalise, not here. There's a coffee shop around the corner. We'll talk there." "Okay. Yes, thank you." They walked in silence to the 24-hour diner, slid into a booth in the back. A waitress brought coffee that neither of them touched. "Talk," Annalise said finally. "Tell me everything." So Henry did. He told her about Victoria's call, about the supposed emergency, about the hotel suite that was clearly set up for seduction. He told her about refusing the wine, about keeping his distance, about Victoria's attempts to remind him of who he used to be. "And then she kissed me," he said, his voice steady despite the emotion in his eyes. "For about 2 seconds, I was so shocked I didn't react. Then I pushed her away and left. The photo she sent you was taken in those 2 seconds, deliberately angled to look like I was participating." He pulled out his phone. "I already have my investigator pulling hotel security footage. It will show exactly what I'm telling you." Annalise sat very still, processing. "Why didn't you tell me you were going to see her?" "Because it was stupid and impulsive and I knew you'd worry. I thought I could handle it quickly and it wouldn't matter." He leaned forward. "But I should have told you. I should have called you from the hotel lobby and said, 'Victoria called with an emergency. I'm checking it out. I'll call you after.' That's what I should have done. And I'm sorry I didn't. You're sorry. I'm sorry I put myself in that position. I'm sorry I gave Victoria the opportunity to manipulate the situation. I'm sorry that I'm sitting here having to convince the woman I love that I didn't betray her again." His voice broke. "But I'm not sorry I refused her. I'm not sorry I chose you. Because, Annalise, I will choose you every single time. In every situation, in every temptation, in every moment, I choose you." Annalise felt tears sliding down her face. "How do I know you're not lying? How do I know the security footage won't be edited or manipulated? Because I'm giving you the investigator's contact information. You can work with him directly. You can verify everything yourself. I'm not asking you to take my word for it. I'm asking you to look at the evidence and decide for yourself. And if I can't trust you, if I can't get past this fear, then I'll keep proving myself for as long as it takes. Because you're worth it. We're worth it. He reached across the table but didn't touch her, giving her space. I love you, Annalise Vance. I love our children, and I will spend every single day of the rest of my life showing you that I'm not that man anymore. Annalise sat in silence, her mind racing. She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to believe him. But trust was so hard, so terrifying, especially when you'd been burned before. I need to tell you something, she heard herself say. Anything. She took a shaky breath. I'm pregnant. The color drained from Henry's face. What? 10 weeks pregnant. I found out 2 days ago. I was going to tell you before all this happened with Victoria. She wiped her eyes. So you see why I can't just blindly trust you. Why do I need to be absolutely sure? Because it's not just about me anymore. It's about 3 children who deserve a father who won't abandon them. Henry's hands were shaking as he stared at her. We're pregnant? Yes, oh my God. His voice was strangled. Annalise, I don't even know what to say. This is incredible. Terrifying, but incredible. Is it? Because you said children were expensive distractions. I said a lot of stupid things 7 years ago when I was a broken man who didn't know what mattered. He slid out of the booth and knelt beside her. But I'm different now. And the idea of having another child with you, of being there from the beginning this time, of not missing a single moment, Annalise, that's everything I want. You promise? I swear on my life, on Serenity and Malik, on everything I am and everything I'm trying to become. He took her hand, finally touching her. I will be there for every appointment, every ultrasound, every moment of this pregnancy. I will be the father this baby deserves from day one, and I will keep being the father Serenity and Malik deserve. That doesn't change, whether you forgive me or not. Annalise looked down at him, this powerful man kneeling in a cheap diner, emotion raw on his face, asking for forgiveness he might not deserve. But maybe that was the point. Maybe love wasn't about deserving. Maybe it was about choosing every day to trust despite the fear. I need to see the security footage, she said finally. Of course, I'll have it sent to you directly. And I need time to process this, all of this. Take all the time you need. But Henry, if you ever put yourself in a situation like that again, going to another woman's hotel room, making decisions without telling me, we're done. Permanently. No second chances. Do you understand? Completely. I understand. Okay. She stood, and he rose with her. Go back to San Francisco, deal with Victoria and whatever fallout this causes. I'll watch the security footage, and tomorrow night we'll talk again. Tomorrow night, Henry agreed. And Annalise, thank you for not giving up, for listening, for being brave enough to keep trying. She didn't respond, just walked out of the diner and back to her apartment, where her brother and her children waited. Henry stood watching her go, his hand pressed to his heart, feeling like he'd just survived the most important test of his life. Now he just had to prove it had all been true. The next morning, Annalise woke to an email from Henry's private investigator. Attached were 3 video files from the Fairmont Hotel's security system. Her hands trembled as she opened the first file. The timestamp read 9:52 p.m. Henry appeared in the hallway, walking towards suite 2847, with his hands in his pockets, his posture tense. He knocked, waited, then entered when Victoria opened the door. The second file showed the interior hallway angle. Henry stayed near the door initially, keeping distance from Victoria. Even in the grainy footage, his body language was clear, defensive, uncomfortable, maintaining space. The third file was the most important. It showed Henry moving to the dining table where papers were spread out. Victoria approached, tried to hand him wine, which he accepted but set down, without drinking. Then she moved closer, too close. Her hand touched his chest. He removed it, stepped back. She followed, closing the distance, and kissed him. For exactly 2 seconds, Annalise counted. Henry froze. Then he pushed her away, stumbling backward. His mouth was moving, clearly saying something forceful, and then he was at the door. The timestamp showed he left at 1:03 p.m., 11 minutes total. 2 seconds of that kiss before he pushed her away. Annalise played the footage again, and again. Studying every frame, looking for evidence that Henry had wanted this, had participated, had betrayed her. She found none. The photo Victoria had sent was real, but it captured only those 2 seconds of shock before Henry reacted. The angle made it look mutual when the video clearly showed it wasn't. Henry had told the truth. Annalise sat back, one hand on her stomach where their baby grew. He'd told the truth. He'd pushed Victoria away. He'd left immediately. And she'd almost thrown it all away based on one manipulated photo. Her phone rang. An unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answered. "Annalise Vance?" A woman's voice, professional. "Yes. This is Rebecca Morrison. I am an attorney representing several investors in Laurent Education Group. I'm calling because we've discovered some irregularities in Victoria Laurent's business practices that we believe you should be aware of." Annalise's pulse quickened. "What kind of irregularities?" Miss Laurent used insider information obtained from Henry Cole during their previous relationship to specifically target Second Chances Learning Center. She positioned Laurent Education as competition not for market reasons, but for personal revenge. "We have emails proving she deliberately chose Seattle and your location specifically to harm your business." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because several of us were unaware of her true motivations when we invested. We were told this was a sound business opportunity in an underserved market. Now that we know the truth, we're pulling our funding. Laurent Education Group will be defunct by the end of business today." The attorney paused. "We wanted you to know that legal action is available if you choose to pursue it." Miss Laurent used potentially illegal methods to obtain information about your business operations. After the call, Annalise sat in stunned silence. Victoria's entire plan was collapsing. The business threat was gone. But more importantly, Victoria had been exposed for exactly what she was. A manipulator using business as a weapon for personal vendettas. Her phone buzzed. A text from Henry. "Press conference at Cole Technologies in 1 hour. Watch if you can. I love you." Annalise turned on her laptop and navigated to Cole Technologies' website, finding the live stream link. The conference room was packed with reporters, board members, and business journalists. Henry stood at a podium looking tired but determined. "Thank you all for coming on short notice," he began. "I've called this press conference to address rumors circulating about my personal life and business decisions, and to make a public statement about integrity in business relationships." He clicked a slide showing the hotel security footage. "Last night, I made a poor decision to meet with Victoria Laurent in her hotel suite regarding what she claimed was a business emergency. I should have declined. I should have insisted on a public location or email communication. My judgment was flawed, and I take full responsibility for putting myself in that position." Another click. The video played, showing Victoria kissing him and him pushing her away. However, what happened during that meeting was not mutual. Ms. Laurent kissed me without consent and immediately photographed the moment to make it appear I was a willing participant. She then sent that photograph to my partner, Annalise Vance, in an attempt to destroy our relationship. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. But this goes deeper than personal manipulation. I've learned that Miss Laurent used proprietary information obtained during our previous professional relationship to specifically target Miss Vance's business. Second Chances Learning Center. This wasn't market competition. This was personal revenge disguised as business strategy. He pulled up another slide showing emails Victoria had sent to investors. Ms. Laurent explicitly told investors that her goal was to eliminate second chances as competition and that she had inside knowledge of their weaknesses. This is unethical at best, potentially illegal at worst. The reporters were frantically taking notes. I'm announcing today that Cole Technologies will be partnering with Second Chances Learning Center to expand their model nationally. We will invest $5 million in exchange for a minority stake, with MS Vance maintaining full creative and operational control. This partnership is based on sound business principles. Second Chances has an 85% success rate with struggling students, and a proven model that deserves wider reach. He paused, his voice dropping to something more personal. But more than that, I'm making this investment because I believe in the woman who built this company from nothing while raising twins alone. I believe in her vision, her integrity, and her refusal to compromise quality for profit. Annalise Vance represents everything business should be: ethical, effective, and focused on genuinely helping people rather than just making money. Another pause as he looked directly into the camera. I'm also making this statement because I'm tired of hiding my personal life. Yes, Annalise Vance and I have a complicated history. We were married 7 years ago, divorced, and she raised our twins, Serenity and Malik, without my knowledge or support. That's on me. I was a different person then, and not a good one. The room was completely silent now. For the past 9 months, I've been trying to earn back her trust and prove that people can genuinely change. Last night, Victoria Laurent almost destroyed that progress. But I'm standing here today to say publicly, for the record, that I love Annalise Vance. I love our children, and I will not allow anyone, in business or personal life, to use manipulation and lies to tear apart what we're building. He stepped back from the podium. I'll take questions now. Hands shot up across the room. Mr. Cole, are you and Miss Vance engaged? Not yet, but I hope to be able to answer that question differently soon. What about Victoria Laurent? Will you pursue legal action? That's Miss Vance's decision. If she chooses to pursue charges for the business interference, I'll support her. If she chooses to let it go, I'll support that too. Your board has been critical of your personal relationship affecting business decisions. What do you say to that? Henry's jaw tightened. I say that any board member who believes ethics and integrity are separate from business decisions is welcome to submit their resignation. The Cole family built this company on innovation and honesty. I intend to honor that legacy. Watching from her apartment in Seattle, Annalise felt emotion overflow. He'd done it. He'd gone public, risked his business reputation, exposed his vulnerabilities, all to defend her and prove his loyalty. Her phone was buzzing constantly. Texts from Daniel, from Eleanor, from staff at Second Chances, from friends she hadn't talked to in years. But she ignored them all and typed a message to Henry. I saw the press conference. I saw the security footage. I believe you. His response came within seconds. Thank God. Can I call you? Not yet. Come to Seattle tonight. We need to talk. In person. I'll be on the next flight. Annalise set down her phone and walked to her bedroom mirror, turning sideways. Still no visible bump, but she knew their baby was there, growing, real. Henry had passed the test, not just by refusing Victoria, but by choosing to be publicly vulnerable, to risk everything for the truth. Maybe, just maybe, this time would be different. Maybe broken things could be rebuilt after all. But first, she had a question to ask him. And this time, when he proposed, she would have an answer ready. Before we continue with what happens when Henry arrives in Seattle, I need to ask you something. Have you ever given someone a second chance? Have you ever watched someone truly transform themselves, prove through actions that they've changed? This story is about more than romance. It's about whether people can genuinely become better versions of themselves. Drop a comment below and tell me, do you believe Henry has proven himself? Would you have believed him? And if this story is keeping you on the edge of your seat, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to see that trust can be rebuilt. Subscribe to Mr. Steele Rich for more stories about love, redemption, and second chances that are actually earned. Now, let's see what Annalise decides. Henry arrived in Seattle at 6:47 p.m., still wearing his suit from the press conference, looking exhausted and hopeful in equal measure. Annalise met him at the door of her apartment. For a long moment they just stared at each other. "Hi," he said finally. "Hi, I saw the footage. I saw you tell the truth." She stepped back, letting him in. "The twins are with Daniel for the night. We need to talk, okay?" Henry followed her to the small living room, sitting when she gestured to the couch. Annalise remained standing, one hand unconsciously moving to her stomach. "I need to apologize." "What?" "No, Annalise, you have nothing." "Let me finish." She took a breath. "I almost threw us away based on one photo without giving you a chance to explain. I was so ready to believe the worst because it was easier than being vulnerable, easier than trusting. And that's not fair to you. You had every reason to doubt me. Did I? You've been nothing but honest for 9 months. You've shown up, been patient, proven yourself over and over, and the first time you were tested, you passed. But I was so scared of being hurt again that I couldn't see it." She finally sat beside him. "I'm sorry for not trusting you, for not giving you the benefit of the doubt, for almost destroying what we've built because I was afraid." Henry's eyes were bright with unshed tears. "I understand why you were afraid, and I'm sorry I put you in a position to doubt me. I should have told you about Victoria's call. I should have been completely transparent. We both made mistakes. But Henry, I saw you today. At that press conference, you risked everything, your reputation, your business relationships, your privacy, to defend me, to tell the truth. That's not something the old Henry would have done. The old Henry didn't have anything worth risking everything for." He took her hand carefully. "You asked me to prove I'd changed. I think I finally did." "You did." Annalise felt tears spilling over. "And I have something to ask you, anything." She stood, pulling him up with her. Then she did something that surprised both of them. She got down on one knee. "Annalise, what are you—" "Shh, let me do this." She looked up at him, her heart pounding. "Henry Cole, 7 years ago you proposed to me on a yacht with a ring that cost more than my car. It was beautiful and romantic and completely wrong. We were wrong. We didn't know each other. We didn't trust each other. We were playing roles instead of being real." Henry was staring at her, frozen. "But now? Now we're real. Messy and complicated and scary, but real. You've proven you can change. You've shown me that trust can be rebuilt. You've been the father our children deserve, and the partner I needed." She squeezed his hand. "So I'm asking you, will you marry me? Not because it makes sense or looks good, but because I love you and I want to build a life with you. A real one this time." Henry's face crumpled as he dropped to his knees in front of her. "Yes. God, yes. 1,000 times yes." They knelt there on her worn carpet, holding each other, both crying, both laughing. "I don't have a ring," Annalise said through her tears. "I don't care. I don't need one." He pulled back to look at her. "But I need to ask you something too, properly this time, the way I should have 9 months ago." He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small box. Annalise gasped. "I've been carrying this for 3 months," Henry admitted. "Waiting for the right moment, waiting until I'd proven myself enough that you might say yes. He opened it to reveal a simple, elegant ring, nothing like the ostentatious diamond from their first engagement. Annalise Vance, will you marry me? Will you let me be your husband and the father of our children? Will you build this life with me, with all its complications and fears and beautiful possibilities? Yes, Annalise whispered. Yes, I'll marry you. He slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly, and then they were kissing, really kissing, for the first time in weeks. All the fear and tension melted away, leaving just them, just this moment, just the promise of what they could build together. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless, Annalise rested her forehead against his. "We're having a baby," she said softly. "We're having a baby," Henry repeated, wondering in his voice. "When? How far along?" 10 weeks, due in January. January. He placed his hand over hers on her stomach. "Do you know, boy or girl? Too early to tell, but we'll find out together. You'll be at every appointment, every single one." He kissed her again, gentler this time. "I can't believe this. We're engaged. We're having a baby. Serenity and Malik are getting a sibling. We should tell them." Together, they called Daniel, who brought the twins back immediately. Both children came running in, chattering about their evening with Uncle Daniel, then stopped short when they saw their parents. "Why do you look different?" Serenity asked suspiciously. "We have some news," Annalise said, smiling. "2 pieces of news, actually." "Are you getting married?" Malik asked with his characteristic directness. "Yes," Henry said, showing them Annalise's ring. "We're getting married." Serenity screamed and launched herself at both parents. "Finally, I've been waiting forever." "You're 6, Malik pointed out, but he was smiling too. Forever is a statistical impossibility. Who cares about status, whatever? Serenity was bouncing. "When's the wedding?" "Can I be a flower girl? Can it be a princess wedding? We'll figure out the details," Annalise promised. "But sweetheart, we have one more thing to tell you." Both twins looked expectant. "You're going to be big siblings," Henry said. "Mama's having a baby. You're getting a little brother or sister." There was a moment of stunned silence. Then Malik's face lit up, actually lit up in a way Annalise had rarely seen. "Really? A sibling? A biological sibling?" "Really," Annalise confirmed. "When? What's the gestation period? Can we find out the gender? Will the baby live with us? Will they go to our school?" "Slow down," Henry laughed. "The baby will be born in January. We'll find out if it's a boy or girl in a few months. And yes, the baby will live with us." "With us where?" Serenity asked. "Here or at Daddy's big house?" Annalise and Henry looked at each other. They hadn't discussed this yet. "We'll figure that out," Annalise said. "But wherever we live, we'll all be together. As a family." "I want a brother," Serenity announced. "So it's 2 girls and 2 boys. That's fair." "I want a sister," Malik countered. "Because Serenity is loud, and a sister might be quiet like me." "Hey!" Serenity protested. "Both of you hush," Daniel said from the doorway, grinning. "You don't get to pick. You get what you get. But I'm excited to be an uncle again." The evening dissolved into excited planning, Serenity sketching wedding dresses, Malik calculating baby-related expenses, Daniel ordering pizza, Henry and Annalise just holding hands and watching their family. Later, after the twins were finally asleep and Daniel had returned to his hotel, Henry and Annalise sat on her small balcony under the Seattle stars. "We need to talk about logistics," Annalise said. "Where we'll live, how we'll handle the businesses, when to have the wedding." "I vote for soon," Henry said. "For the wedding, before you're too far along to be comfortable. I vote for small, nothing like last time, just family and real friends." "Agreed. Your apartment or my estate?" Annalise considered. What if we found somewhere new?" Not my place or yours, but ours. A house in Seattle where we could all fit comfortably. We could start looking this weekend. And the business? Your company is in San Francisco. I meant what I said about opening a Seattle office. The technology exists to run Cole Technologies remotely. My board won't love it, but they'll adjust or be replaced. He squeezed her hand. My family comes first now. That's not negotiable. And second chances? Your investment, completely your decision. If you want to expand with Cole Technologies backing, great. If you want to keep it exactly as it is, also great. I'm a silent partner. You're the vision and the boss. Annalise leaned her head on his shoulder. This is really happening. We're really doing this. We really are. Engaged, pregnant, planning a life together. He kissed the top of her head. Are you scared, terrified, but also happy, really happy? Me too. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the city lights, both thinking about the journey that had brought them here. From that first wedding built on lies to this second chance built on truth. From broken hearts to healing. From fear to trust. Henry, thank you for not giving up, for proving you could change, for fighting for us even when I made it hard. Thank you for being brave enough to give me another chance, for being the best mother our children could have, for building something beautiful out of the wreckage I created. He turned to face her. I promise I'll spend the rest of my life being worthy of this, of you, of them. I know you will. And for the first time in 7 years, Annalise truly believed it. The past was past, the future was uncertain. But right now, at this moment, they had each other. They had their children. They had a baby on the way and a wedding to plan and a life to build. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything. 3 months later, Annalise stood in front of a full-length mirror in a guest room at the Cole estate, studying her reflection. The simple, elegant ivory dress, tea-length empire waist to accommodate her now visible baby bump, was perfect. Not the elaborate designer gown from her first wedding, but something that felt like her. At nearly 7 months pregnant, she glowed. You look beautiful, Mama, Serenity breathed from the doorway. At nearly 7 years old, she was resplendent in her emerald flower girl dress, a flower crown perched on her auburn curls. You look pretty stunning yourself, sweetheart. Malik appeared beside his sister, tugging at his small suit. The guests are seated. Uncle Daniel says we start in 10 minutes. Are you ready? Was she ready? Annalise placed a hand on her rounded belly, feeling the baby, their son they'd learned last month, kick in response. In 10 minutes she'd walk down an aisle toward Henry Cole and promise forever. Again. But this time, everything was different. I'm ready, she said. Eleanor swept into the room, elegant in champagne silk. The transformation in Henry's mother over the past year has been remarkable. Therapy, genuine remorse, and the love of her grandchildren had softened her edges, revealing the woman she might have been all along. The photographer wants one shot of all of you before the ceremony, Eleanor said, then paused, really looking at Annalise. You're lovely, dear, truly. Henry is a lucky man. Thank you, Eleanor, for everything. For this, Annalise gestured to the garden visible through the window, where 40 chairs were arranged in intimate rows. For helping make this perfect. It's the least I could do after how I treated you the first time. Eleanor's eyes glistened. I'm grateful you're giving this old woman a second chance, too. They embraced carefully, mindful of Annalise's belly. The photographer captured them, Annalise with her children and soon-to-be mother-in-law, all genuine smiles, no performance. Then Eleanor and the twins left, and Annalise was alone with her brother Daniel. Are you sure about this? He asked, offering his arm. Completely sure. Are you sure about walking me down the aisle? Mom and Dad offered to fly out. And you told them to save their money for after the baby comes. I know. I'm honored, Annie. He kissed her forehead. I've watched him change. I watched him earn this. You're making the right choice. I know I am. The music started. Not the traditional wedding march, but an acoustic guitar playing their song, the one that had been playing the night Henry first told her he loved her 9 months ago. Daniel offered his arm. Ready to get married? Let's do this. The garden at the Cole estate had been transformed into something magical without being ostentatious. White chairs, simple flower arrangements, fairy lights strung through the trees even though it was still afternoon. 40 guests, real friends, close family, people who actually mattered, turned to watch as Serenity came down the aisle first, carefully scattering rose petals with intense concentration. Then Malik carrying the rings on a small pillow, his face serious and proud. And then Annalise on her brother's arm, her eyes finding Henry's immediately. He stood at the altar in a perfectly tailored suit, but what made her heart skip wasn't how handsome he looked, it was the expression on his face, pure, unguarded love. Tears were already streaming down his cheeks, his hand pressed to his chest as if he couldn't quite believe this was real. Halfway down the aisle, Serenity abandoned her flower-scattering duties and ran to Henry, throwing her arms around his waist. Malik followed, more dignified but just as eager. The guests laughed as Henry knelt down, embracing both children. "We're supposed to wait at the end," Malik whispered. "I know," Henry whispered back. "But I couldn't wait to hug you." Annalise reached them then, and Daniel placed her hand in Henry's. But instead of just Henry and Annalise facing the officiant, all 4 of them stood together, parents and children, already a family, making it official. The officiant, a kind-faced woman they'd chosen together, smiled. "Dear beloved, we're gathered here today to celebrate not just a marriage, but a family. Henry, Annalise, Serenity, and Malik have asked to begin this ceremony by making promises to each other as a unit before the traditional vows." Henry knelt down to the twins' level. "Serenity, Malik, I promise to be the father you deserve, to show up for every recital, every game, every moment that matters, to love your mother with everything I have, to give you a little brother who will drive you crazy but also be your best friend, and to never, ever take this family for granted. We promise to not be too mad when the baby cries at night," Serenity said solemnly, "and to help teach him things," Malik added, "like math and science and how to be a good person." Annalise was already crying. "I promise to love all of you," she touched her belly, "all 4 of you, with everything I am, to build a home where it's safe to be yourselves, to never let anyone make you feel less than worthy, and to remind your father daily how lucky he is." The guests laughed through their own tears. The officiant continued, "Now, the traditional vows. Henry, you may begin." Henry stood, taking Annalise's hands in his. He'd written his vows, but now he folded the paper and spoke from his heart. "Annalise, 7 years ago I promised you forever and broke that promise within months. Today I'm promising you forever again. But this time I understand what that means. It means choosing you when it's hard. It means being honest even when it's uncomfortable. It means putting our family first even when business suffers. It means growing and changing and never being satisfied with who I am because I can always be better for you." His voice cracked. "You've given me 3 children, 2 chances, and 1 incredible life. I vow to spend every day earning all of it. I vow to love you, honor you, and cherish you. To be your partner in every sense. To build our dreams together. And to never, ever forget how lucky I am that you chose to trust me again." Annalise couldn't see through her tears, but she didn't need to. She knew these words by heart, had helped Henry write them, revise them, make them true. "Henry," she began, her voice shaking, "you taught me the hardest lesson, that love could be transactional, that hearts could be used and discarded. But then you taught me something better, that people can genuinely change, that broken trust can be rebuilt, that second chance is real when both people do the work. I vow to keep choosing you, even when I'm scared. To trust you, even when old fears whisper. To build this family on truth instead of fantasy. To love you for who you are now, not who you were or who I wish you'd be. You're enough, Henry, exactly as you are. And I can't wait to spend forever proving it. They exchanged rings. Simple platinum bands engraved with their wedding date and the words second chances. By the power vested in me, the officiant said, beaming, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Again. But better this time. Henry, you may kiss your bride. Henry cradled Annalise's face gently, mindful of her pregnant belly between them, and kissed her softly. The guests erupted in applause. Serenity cheered. Malik smiled his rare, genuine smile. And in that moment, Annalise felt something she'd never felt during her first wedding, complete certainty that this was right. They walked back down the aisle together, all four of them, Serenity holding Annalise's hand, Malik holding Henry's, a family in every way that mattered. The reception was held in the same garden, intimate and joyful. Eleanor gave a toast that had everyone in tears, acknowledging her past mistakes and expressing gratitude for the family that had somehow come together despite, or perhaps because of, all the pain. Daniel's toast was shorter. I told him if he hurt you again, I'd kill him. The offer still stands, but I don't think I'll need to. Congratulations, Annie. You deserve this happiness. As the sun set and fairy lights illuminated the garden, Henry pulled Annalise onto the small dance floor. How are you feeling? He murmured as they swayed together. Is the baby okay? Are you tired? Do you need to sit? For real this time, Annalise agreed. Serenity tapped Henry's leg. Can we dance with you? So they made room, creating a family circle with the twins between them, all four swaying together as their guests watched and smiled. Later, as the evening wound down and guests began to leave, Annalise found a quiet moment alone with Henry on the edge of the garden. No regrets? He asked softly. She placed his hand on her belly where their son was performing acrobatics. Not a single one. I love you, Mrs. Cole. I love you too. She smiled. And thank you. For what? For becoming the man I needed. For proving second chances are real, for giving our children the family they deserve. She kissed him gently, for being worth the risk. As they stood there, the sounds of their children playing with Daniel in the background, the fairy lights twinkling overhead, the future stretching out before them full of possibility and promise, Annalise knew with absolute certainty. This was their real beginning. Everything before, the pain, the mistakes, the 7 years apart, had just been the prologue. This was where their real story started, and she couldn't wait to see how it unfolded. 3 months later, at 2:37 a.m., on a snowy January morning, Daniel Vance Cole entered the world weighing 7 pounds, 3 ounces, with his father's dark eyes and his mother's determination. Henry held his son for the first time with trembling hands, tears streaming down his face. He's perfect, he whispered. Annalise, he's absolutely perfect. Annalise, exhausted but radiant, watched her husband cradle their baby. This was so different from Serenity and Malik's birth, when she'd been alone, terrified, with no one to share the moment. Now Henry was here, had been here through every contraction, every push, every moment of pain and triumph. Do you want to call the kids? She asked softly. Henry nodded, carefully passing baby Daniel back to her before pulling out his phone. It was early morning, but Eleanor had promised to have Serenity and Malik ready. The video call connected, showing 2 excited faces pressed close to the screen. Is he here? Serenity practically shouted. Did the baby come? He's here, Henry confirmed, turning the camera to show Annalise holding their tiny brother. Meet Daniel Vance Cole. He's so small, Serenity breathed. Can we come see him, please? In a few hours, Henry promised. Let Mama rest a bit first. But yes, you'll meet him today. Malik leaned closer to the screen, studying his new brother with analytical intensity. He has the family nose. And Dad's eye shape. Does he have all 10 fingers and toes? All accounted for, Annalise assured him with a tired smile. I can't wait to teach him things, Malik said seriously. Like how to read and do math and... He has to learn to hold his head up first, Serenity interrupted. Babies are very delicate. I read a book about it. We'll teach him together, Henry said. You're both going to be amazing older siblings. After ending the call, Henry settled into the chair beside Annalise's hospital bed, just watching her with their son. Thank you, he said quietly. For what? For this. For him. For trusting me enough to build this family with me. His voice grew thick with emotion. I missed everything with Serenity and Malik. Every moment of your pregnancy, their birth, their first months. But I'm here for this. I got to be here. And I'll never take that for granted. I know you won't. Annalise adjusted baby Daniel in her arms. You want to try holding him again? Get some practice before the twins descend and monopolize him? Henry carefully took his son, settling back in the chair with Daniel against his chest. The baby made small sounds, his tiny fist curling around Henry's finger. I've got you, little man, Henry murmured. Your big sister is going to smother you with love. Your big brother is going to try to teach you calculus before you can walk. Your mama is the strongest person you'll ever meet. And your dad... He paused, emotion overwhelming him. Your dad is going to try his absolute hardest to be the father you deserve. I promise you that... Annalise felt tears slide down her cheeks, watching them. This was what she'd dreamed of 7 years ago when she'd first learned she was pregnant. A father who would love their children, be present, choose family over everything else. She'd just been dreaming about the wrong version of Henry. This version, the one transformed by therapy and determination and love, was so much better than anything she could have imagined. 6 hours later, Serenity and Malik burst into the hospital room with Eleanor trailing behind, trying to maintain some semblance of calm. Shh, Eleanor reminded them. Hospital voices, but all decorum vanished when they saw their baby brother. Serenity approached slowly, her eyes wide with wonder. He's even tinier than I thought. Can I touch him? Of course, Annalise said, gently. Here, sit beside me. Serenity climbed carefully onto the hospital bed, and Annalise showed her how to support Daniel's head. He's so soft, Serenity whispered, touching his tiny hand. Hi, Daniel. I'm your big sister. I'm going to take care of you forever. Malik hung back, uncertain. Henry noticed and knelt beside him. Want to hold him? I might break him. You won't. I'll show you how. Henry settled Malik into a chair and carefully placed Daniel in his arms, supporting them both. Malik stared down at his baby brother with an expression of awe that Annalise had never seen before. He's looking at me, Malik whispered. He knows you're his big brother, Henry said. I'm going to teach you everything, Malik told Daniel seriously. Well, everything that's not feelings and emotions. Serenity will handle that part. I'll teach you logic and science and how to think critically. He's going to be so smart with you as a teacher, Annalise said, her heart full to bursting. Eleanor stood back, watching the scene with tears in her eyes. When Annalise caught her gaze, the older woman mouthed, Thank you. Annalise just smiled. This family, messy and complicated and beautiful, was more than she'd ever hoped for. They brought baby Daniel home 3 days later to the house they'd bought together in Seattle, a spacious craftsman with enough room for all of them, plus a home office for Henry and a guest room that Daniel had claimed as his own during his frequent visits. The twins had decorated Daniel's nursery with hand-drawn welcome signs. Serenity said, Welcome home, baby Daniel. We love you, with approximately 50 hearts. Malik said, Welcome to the family unit. Current population, 5. The first weeks were chaos. Sleepless nights, endless diaper changes, trying to balance a newborn's needs with two active 7-year-olds, but they managed it together, Henry taking paternity leave from Cole Technologies to be fully present. At 3 a.m. feedings, he and Annalise would sit together in the nursery, taking turns with Daniel while discussing everything and nothing. "I can't believe we have 3 children," Henry said one night, watching Annalise nurse Daniel. 3 incredible kids, a real family, tired of it already? Annalise teased. "Never. I'd have 10 more if you were willing. Let's master 3 first. Deal. Before we wrap up this beautiful journey, I need to ask you something. Have you ever believed someone could truly change? Have you ever taken a second chance on someone, or been given one yourself?" This story is about more than just romance and wealth. It's about genuine transformation, earned trust, and the courage to build something new from broken pieces. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Do you believe in second chances? And if this story moved you, if it made you believe that people can change and broken things can be rebuilt, hit that like button and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to Mr. Steele Rich for more stories about love, redemption, and the complicated beauty of real life. Your support means everything. Now, let's see where this family is 6 months later. 6 months after Daniel's birth, Annalise stood in her kitchen making breakfast while chaos swirled around her. Serenity was doing a dramatic reading of her 2nd grade book report. Malik was explaining string theory to baby Daniel, who gurgled happily from his high chair. Henry was burning toast again, something he did with impressive consistency. "Daddy, the toast is smoking," Malik observed. "I've got it," Henry said, yanking the charred bread from the toaster. "I swear I'll master this someday." "Statistically unlikely," Malik said. "You've been trying for 6 months with a 0% success rate. Thanks for the vote of confidence, son." Annalise laughed, flipping pancakes. This was her life now. Controlled chaos, morning mayhem, the beautiful mess of a real family. Second Chances Learning Center had expanded to 8 locations across 3 states, with plans for 5 more by year's end. The partnership with Cole Technologies had been incredibly successful, allowing Annalise to help more students while maintaining the quality and integrity that had built her reputation. Henry split his time between Seattle and San Francisco, but was home far more than he traveled. He'd restructured Cole Technologies' leadership to allow for remote management, proving that family could come first without sacrificing professional success. Eleanor had moved to Seattle permanently, living in a condo 10 minutes away. She visited almost daily, having transformed from cold matriarch to doting grandmother who baked cookies with the kids and never, ever tried to control their lives. And Victoria Laurent? She'd moved to New York, started over, and according to Eleanor's sources, was actually doing well with a legitimate education business that didn't involve sabotage or revenge. "Mama, when's breakfast?" Serenity asked, abandoning her book report to hug Annalise's leg. "5 minutes, baby. I'll set the table," Serenity announced, already pulling out plates. "I'll help," Malik said, putting down the physics book he'd been showing Daniel. Henry wrapped his arms around Annalise from behind, careful not to disturb her pancake flipping. "Happy?" "Exhausted, covered in baby spit-up, and I'm pretty sure I haven't slept more than 4 hours straight in 6 months," Annalise said. "But yes, incredibly, impossibly happy. Me too." He kissed her neck. "I love you, Mrs. Cole. I love you too," as they sat down to breakfast, slightly burned toast and all, with their 3 children chattering and laughing and arguing. Annalise thought about the journey that had brought them here. 7 years ago, she'd driven away from San Francisco broken and alone, believing she'd never trust again. Now she sat in a home she'd chosen, with a man who'd genuinely changed, raising 3 children who knew they were loved unconditionally. The path hadn't been easy. Trust had been rebuilt one day, one choice, one moment at a time. But it was worth it. Every sleepless night, every hard conversation, every moment of fear overcome by courage, it had all been worth it. Because second chances weren't about erasing the past, they were about building something better in the future. And this future, chaotic and imperfect and absolutely beautiful, was everything she'd never known she needed. Just thinking about how lucky I am. We're lucky too, Malik said matter-of-factly. Statistically, we could have ended up with a much less optimal family structure. Daniel banged his spoon on his high-chair tray, apparently agreeing. Henry raised his orange juice. To second chances. Annalise lifted her coffee mug. To new beginnings, to family, Serenity added. To optimal outcomes, Malik concluded. They clinked their various beverages together, orange juice, coffee, milk and baby formula, and laughed. This was their story. Not perfect but real, not easy but worth it. Not about going back to what was, but moving forward to what could be. 7 years ago, Annalise Vance had lost everything. Today, Annalise Cole had everything that mattered. And the beautiful thing about second chances, sometimes they turned out even better than first chances ever could have been. Thank you for joining us on Henry and Annalise's journey from broken hearts to a beautiful family. If this story touched you, if it made you believe that people can truly change and love can be rebuilt on stronger foundations, please hit that like button right now. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that second chances are real. And subscribe to Mr. Steele Rich for more stories about love, redemption, wealth, and the messy, complicated beauty of real relationships. Drop a comment and tell me, what was your favorite moment in this journey? Was it Henry's loyalty test, the wedding, baby Daniel's birth? Let me know. Until next time, remember, broken things can become beautiful when rebuilt with truth, trust, and the courage to try again.